Here we go. Here
Okay,
we
we're live
are.
and live, and in different states, and in different cities, and in different time zones, and in different worlds, and in different existences, and different. And what's for lunch?
It's
That's really
different.
the most important thing.
It's
Most
different.
important thing is what the hell is for lunch.
Well, I'll wait till noon to get there. Although I do have a can of anchovies sitting here that I want to use, so I got to
Uh,
figure
uh,
something out.
what's in the anchovies?
What's in the anchovies? Just
They're
anchovies. Just
they're packed in olive oil.
olive oil. Yeah, yeah, or some kind of oil. I don't even know if it's actually olive oil. It could be motor oil for all I know. You know, it's those
Could be
Southern
blue
Italian
oil.
anchovies. They're tough.
So was olive oil, if you remember. She took a beating just about in every cartoon she was in. Between
Yeah,
Popeye and
poor
Pluto,
olive oil, man. She really, yeah, she
her
got.
neck got stretched, her legs got longer, she got whacked in the head. Popeye.
She was tied to two cars that were going down a road off a cliff and stretched. Yeah.
And she just couldn't make up her mind. Did she want little Popeye or Big Bluto? She could not decide. Every cartoon she started all over as if nothing had happened the day before.
Right. I mean,
She-
she definitely had a thing for big burly bearded guys. I mean, that was obvious, but she always wound up going home with the skinny guy.
and those boots. Did she have to wear those boots? Was it absolutely necessary that she wear the high top
Yeah. As a matter
lace
of
ups?
fact, if you go to the Trump campaign page, you'll
Oh,
find that you
right.
can buy a pair of olive oil 50, what is it, olive oil 45s uh, at a discounted price, made in Vietnam, which is the closest.
One of the things about olive oil that I liked was she had socks inside the boots that were longer than the boots. So she was a fashion plate, and lucky, actually, luckier than she realized to have two men vying for her affections in every damn cartoon.
Yeah, actually, I always thought that Wimpy was actually probably most successful with her than anybody. They just didn't
He,
show it on the
he, he
cartoon.
was a long, strong to silent type.
Yeah, he'd show up, he'd bring a couple of hamburgers that he promised he would pay for on Tuesday, and there's Wimpy. He's got food, he's got the little hat, and he's got a ton of personality. So
There
olive
were
oil, I and Brutus or Bluto or whatever you want to call him. He had a couple of aliases. He must have killed a man in a bar room in some port
and took his
because,
identity.
well, yeah, one day he was Brutus, and then all of a sudden he changed to Bluto. I mean, it's a mystery that rivals the two Darrens in Bewitched.
Oh no, they wanted to go in a slightly different direction. That's what they did there.
Well, that's what they did with Bluto, and I can't imagine that the actor that played him was very happy about that.
Well, the funny things about those type of cartoons is that the dialogue was never very important. They would just mutter. That was an important line for Bluto. Oh, Popeye. At least Olive Oil would say something that appeared to be in English, but Popeye would not respond in any language that we know.
Well, no, Popeye would
Something he picked
usually.
up, something he picked up in Shanghai.
Yeah, he'd probably a lot of times he'd get frustrated. He'd go kick 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 kick. Yeah, kick 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 kick. Well, blow me down. You know, which was he had that was his catchphrase. I mean, even then, even back in the 20s, even in the early days of cartoons, comics knew that if you're going to entertain, you had to have a catchphrase.
Now, what was who did the Max Fleischer was a originator of Betty Boop.
I think
Who
Max
originated?
Fleischer was also Popeye.
Was he okay?
I think he did. I think Max Fleischer did Popeye. Did Coco the clown? Remember the clown that used to come out of the inkwell?
And Coco was a friend of. He mixed Coco up with. 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 He mixed with Betty Boop and Betty's dog, whose name was
Felicity?
Pokey.
I don't know. I don't remember Betty's dog's name, unfortunately. I'd have to not Spot. Oh,
I think Coco the Clown was the one who did the dancing when they synced up the Harlem band leader. Oh damn! It was live action and animation together in Max Fleischer style, and the band leader was
Cab Calloway.
Thank you, Cab Calloway. And Coco the Clown would just walk and turn into Cab Calloway, and then turn out of Cab Calloway, and his clothes would change, and the background would flip. It was pretty psychedelic.
Yeah, I think I saw that. I think I saw it on TCM one night. I was kind of watching. I don't remember from when I was a kid, but I do remember it from a late night watching of TCM. You know, TCM used to play. I don't know if they still do, because I have this weird form of TCM that I get through Amazon Prime, so it doesn't come through like regular TCM. It's just on a cable system. It comes through differently, and it doesn't give you the scheduled programs. You get to pick from a menu. I don't really like it. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to get rid of my Max through Prime and just get it through just the regular channels, because it's just it just doesn't it's not right for some reason.
It's more, and
You
by
know?
being more, it's less.
Yeah, it's just like if you get it through your just a regular subscription, you can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on, I mean, there's a million ways you can watch it. If you get it through Amazon Prime, you can only watch it through their app. You can't go on the Turner Classic Movie app, or at least I haven't figured out how you do it. Um, there may be a way, as with many things technical,
There's a way.
to do it. It's just that I haven't found it yet compelling enough for me to sit down or go on YouTube and try to get an answer, because you don't look at instructions anymore. You just go to YouTube and you punch it in, and there's somebody that's done it already, and you can learn anything from replacing the front steering mechanism on your car to to fixing a refrigerator on YouTube. It's all there. It's just all right there for you to watch.
Watch and learn and do it yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we always think of YouTube in the realm of conspiracy theories and zealots and everything like that, but there's also a lot of valuable information on YouTube. You just have to be intelligent enough to want to find it.
I want the video that tells me what the heck happened to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. What turned him into a freak? Was he dropped on his head as a child? Was he always a freak?
I hate to say this, but I think drugs rattled his brain, Michael. I mean, he was an addict for a long time, and I think drugs really have certainly messed with his voice.
The Comedy Channel did a thing on him last night. Maybe you saw on the Daily Show, where they said that he had been involved with a new experimental drug called heroin.
No, I didn't. I didn't see it. I feel sorry for him, because he's grabbing at attention. He wants to be relevant, and
he cannot recall, to the best of his memory, what he says the day before.
Yeah, I mean, I saw an interview with him on Bill Maher, and not the HBO show, but Bill Maher's podcast, and it just seemed like he was grabbing. I mean, this is a guy who tragically lost his father when he was 6 years old,
or younger even. perhaps.
Yeah, maybe younger than that. And I don't know. It just looks like it's had an effect on him. It looks like it's taken a toll on him. Um, I mean, he has nobody would pay attention to him if he didn't have the Kennedy name,
True
and
enough.
he's allowed himself to become a tool for the Trump people
True enough.
because the only
Without
reason they're supporting him is because they want to
seemingly
siphon
without,
votes.
and he doesn't seem to realize that he's been used as a tool.
Yeah, but that's why I say he seems to be an unfortunate dude, and if I were him, I'd probably take my money and
Go to
and
Bimini.
go enjoy it somewhere. You probably can get into any club in the world saying you're a Kennedy. Just go enjoy your money and I just he doesn't bring anything to the table.
He brings a
Nothing.
very strange, unreliable personal
Well,
uh, presence. You don't know what
the
he's going to
only
say or
thing
what
that
he's
he
going to
brings
do.
to the table, Michael, besides that strange presence, is for some reason there are enough people in the black community that remember his father fondly, and they think that when they're going to get this Kennedy, that they're going to get the Kennedy of 1968 or 67 or 66.
You
They're
think
going to
when you
get the
get
attorney general, or they're going to get
when
the senator.
the Kennedy comes to your party, and you get the full Kennedy effect, no matter which Kennedy it is.
Yeah, and it doesn't work like that, as we well know. If Sergeant Shriver shows up at your party, it's a different Kennedy effect. If
Do you let
there's
him
just
in?
yeah, I let almost anybody in as long as they behave themselves. Why not?
Yeah, that's
I
sort of
bring
like
something to the table. So I don't know where Kennedy's going to go, what's going to happen with him. He's not going to get elected president. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. There'll be no president, not him at least. He will not be the next President Kennedy. There may be a President Kennedy down the road, but he's not going to be it. And he just there are times when I see him and he's making a fool out of himself. You
there's a lot
know?
of that going on. I think Nikki Haley is making a fool out of herself. Not that I don't want her to continue to irritate Donald Trump. I just want her to walk around and keep doing her strange stage movements. Remember, I was
Right.
the
I,
first one
I
to
listen.
first
I
one to
thank
say
God.
that her I was the first one to notice that her hand movements and her stage presence and her motions on stage are strikingly inhuman. There's something very strange and robotic and invented about her casualness.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I would agree with that. I just but I thank God for Nikki Haley because if not for her, Trump would have free reign, and she obviously gets under his skin, and anybody who can get under his skin, in my book, is I'll buy him lunch anywhere. I'm happy that she's there. I'm glad she's not. I realize why the Koch brothers pulled their money, but there's enough other money around. That's the thing, Michael, that nobody on the news says that this woman is solely in the race because she annoys Donald Trump, because he gets to her.
And that's good enough for the donors.
And there's a certain class of people out there with a lot of money that say this is fun to watch. This is this
Put me down for
no
another
no
750 grand.
yeah, so they'll pay that kind of money to watch her get under his skin. Ooh, I can't imagine what's under there. Um,
Nothing.
the festering smells that must be
The
inside
dark,
of her.
odious creature.
Yeah, the rotting organs that anyway, so No, listen, I send Nikki Haley $5. You know, she keeps it up. She keeps going till the Democratic convention. I'll slip her a 5. You know, it's good entertainment for me. Um, because she obviously pisses him off.
Well, everybody pisses him off that doesn't stand in line.
Right. She pissed, but she has a way. But see, she's a woman. And it seems that when women do, I only wish there was a black woman running for president because that would really piss him off. Because he seems to have absolutely no respect for any black woman.
He likes them if they carry his mugshot for some sort of
Yeah.
penitentiary.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw his rant the other night at, well, I don't even know what the awards were. The Essence Awards. It was some kind of trumped up award.
The big
That
Biff Jiggerman Awards.
Yeah, and he was going on about. I mean, first he comes out and he makes a slew of racist jokes. Then he comes out and starts talking about how black people love him now because he has a mugshot. I mean, how do you well, you know what? I answered my own question because there's a large group of people in this country that think like that. There's a large group of people in this country that see a
About
black person
30%. Yeah.
and they immediately associate them with a criminal. They immediately associate them with somebody who's going to steal something from them, a loudmouth, and black women, for whatever reason, get to Trump. Fonnie Willis gets to him.
Yeah.
Letitia James in New York gets to him. Kamala Harris gets to him. He must have had somebody in his life in the past that was a woman that was black do something to him.
Martha and the Vandellas get to him.
They get to him. It's so obvious. He does. I mean, he does nothing to try to hide it or mask it. What's going on at your house?
There is a level of improvement going on with some drilling and hammering.
Oh, okay. I heard a strange noise and I thought maybe you were having stomach problems.
Actually, the funny thing is, this microphone, this one, picks up the noise outside as well as it picks up me. You notice how microphones will do that? They'll listen for what's going on that's not happening right in front of you.
Yeah.
So we hear your voice, and we got that part. But isn't there something else that we could listen to further down the hall?
Is that like an ambient? Don't they build that feature into some microphones? I remember seeing a chart. Some microphones go like this, some microphones go like this, some of them go like that. And I guess there's adjustments on some microphones that you can use to
For patterns.
make them do different. Yeah, whatever. If you want to, if you have the Beach Boys in the studio singing, you want to get that into your
Then
microphone.
you put it on the 0 so that you can sing anywhere around the microphone,
Right,
especially with the Neumann Telefunkens.
right. Some more good news this morning. I'm sure you saw that Mitch McConnell has decided to step down as the speaker, as the speaker of the Senate.
Yeah, well,
Leader
that's
of the Senate.
going to be
Minority leader.
it's going to be a blow to the National League West because he was in our starting rotation for the Giants. He's a little on the old side, but he still has the experience. Throw it where they ain't, pitch it where they want it. Ask them when they want it slow and bouncy or smooth and creamy.
It really says something for manhood, I think, these days, that you get a guy like McConnell, and he's supposed to be so powerful, and he's supposed to be, and he is. I mean, there's no doubt that he is, but he would get in bed again. He would endorse again. He would consider endorsing again a guy who made racist remarks about his wife.
And hates him anyway.
I mean, how do you look? I mean, you're married. I've been married. If somebody said something about my wife, they
You're not
get,
likely to forget that.
yeah, they're gonna, yeah, they're out of my, there's no way that I'm ever endorsing them or ever really talking to them again. And anytime I can see a way to make their life harder than it is, they're getting it. They insulted my wife.
Instead, Mitch McConnell put together the Supreme Court that we're dealing with on a daily basis. More than any one
And
person, more than Donald Trump.
considering endorsing him for president again. There were headlines earlier this week. McConnell, people in the McConnell camp are talking to people in the Trump camp, and I'd like to find out where they're camping.
It ain't Camp David.
And there's I mean, there would be no possibility or way in the world. I don't care how big of a trunk of money you delivered to me or what you offered me, that if you insulted my wife the way Trump insulted Elaine Chao, who's McConnell's wife, that you would ever, I mean, want to be in the same room with this guy. They haven't talked for 3 years.
Now you see what it's like to be a senator and the compromises that you make willingly. No one forces him. No one said, Mitch, you got to make up with Donald Trump. He read the room. He saw where the votes were. He saw which way the wind was blowing. And he said, yeah, I'm going to play ball with these guys.
It makes me lose all respect, whatever respect I had for him, which wasn't much to begin with. But
you think he'll make it to November?
He sounded like he was half dead when he was doing his speech before.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't sound good. Wouldn't shock me if he retired as the Senate Minority Leader, and then they found him in his car somewhere, slumped over the wheel.
I think it's been quite a while since he drove his own car. Yeah. Well, you're not alone in those.
You get to take somebody with you.
Yeah, good idea. Now there's a thought.
Yeah, you can load. Load Rand Paul into the car with you.
That would be a great choice. Thank you, Vinnie.
Do something in service of your country before you go.
I think we should be sending money to Rand Paul's angry neighbor, the one that hates him and knocked him down in a pile of leaves.
Really, here's $500,000. Go hit him again.
Yeah, the Koch brothers fund Rand Paul's angry neighbor.
It's amazing. It's amazing that these people are allowed to exist the way they are.
That's what someone said yesterday. I can't remember who it was. I think it was on MSNBC when someone said, the fact that Tommy Tuberville exists still stuns me.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, but this is the type of leadership you get in a dictatorship. This is the type of leadership you get in an autocracy. You don't get people because they're intelligent at what they do. You get people because they either follow the leader,
they're just flocking to the light.
They're famous somehow. They have some kind of notoriety somehow, or they've maneuvered their way up through the party. Nikita Khrushchev didn't become the premier of the Soviet Union because he was smart. He became the premier of the Soviet Union because he knew how to maneuver through the minefield.
And it was close to being his turn, and he took it.
He said, "This is a good idea. Let me take this now while I can." I mean, you see that in all kinds of uh, different autocratic governments.
That was my
Uh,
shot.
yeah, it's doesn't matter what I know. It doesn't matter if I can make the trains run on time. All I have to do is change the schedules. I just it doesn't matter what I know. It doesn't matter. It matters who I know.
And
Um,
how I express my fealty toward them.
and you see that in many. I mean, it was a sign of things in New York City for a long, long time. People didn't get jobs because of what they knew. They got jobs because of who they knew. If you knew the local assembly guy, if you knew
You
the
have my
commissioner,
support. You have my vote. Yeah.
if you knew this guy, if you went out and doorbelled for him or whatever, you got a job. You got a nice city job. It paid you, at the time, $25,000, $30,000 a year for doing something that you probably knew nothing about. There was tons of people that worked for the highway department, never seen a dump truck in their life before. But you could stack people in the highway department. So, and
Your least favorite highway in New York would be what?
my least favorite highway.
The one you really didn't enjoy driving on because it was
Oh,
dangerous or
yeah,
narrow
the
or
Interborough Parkway. Yeah, it's now called the Jackie Robinson, but back then it was the Interborough Parkway, and it's a narrow, curvy, 4-lane highway that really has 1.5 lanes on each side, but they've crammed 2 lanes into each side. That runs basically between two cemeteries. So it's
depending on
it's
which
a
way you're
constant
going.
reminder that that if you keep driving this thing, eventually you're going to die. And
Did they
it,
let trucks on it?
excuse me,
Did they allow trucks on it?
they never used to. They a few years ago they actually started allowing smaller trucks on it. Uh, but
To make it more dangerous.
yeah, you could get on that Interborough on a Friday or Saturday night and almost get guaranteed that there was going to be a DOA collision by 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and several of them by 4 or 5.
Whoa.
It was horrible. It had no existence. It still to this day has no business being a highway. It should be closed down and turned into a walkway. But it's clearly the worst. It just really it's you just don't want to drive on it.
Why do people
And
need it? Where does it take you? From between the cemeteries, where do you get to go if
it,
you're on the
it takes
Interborough?
you from the Kew Gardens interchange, which is right by the south end of the World's Fair, the Van Wyck, into East New York, Brooklyn. So it straddles the Brooklyn Queens line all the way through the two cemeteries, which are the Cypress Hill cemeteries, and it is it's just extremely dangerous. And it was a favorite spot in the before was when it was okay, when it was okay to drive drunk. I mean, we talk about often the days when
When it was
you know
encouraged.
yeah, it was encouraged.
One for the ditch.
It
Take
was
one for the ditch.
compared to people would stand at a bar and they'd say, "Oh, you should have seen how snookered I got the other night." And I drove home, and if the cops pulled you over, they wouldn't arrest you. They'd take you home, and they'd take your keys and come back later and give them to you, or something, something. But nobody got arrested for DUI. Very rarely, until probably the middle 70s.
Yeah, that's when we started to come around.
And we started to say, well, wait a minute, this is killing. But back in those days, it was that road was a road that for some reason, and I think part of it was there was a lot of people that worked at the airport that lived in East New York that worked at Kennedy. So on a Friday or a Saturday or Sunday night, there was a ton of them that would go drinking afterwards and then jump on the Interborough and try to see how fast they could get through.
And show their stuff.
And the Interborough had wooden guardrails.
Oh boy.
So the guardrails that you see today that are metal breakaway guardrails, and
Yeah.
the light poles were all made out of wood. They weren't made out of breakaway metal. So
This is
a
the
lot of
devil's
times
highway.
somebody would hit one of those guardrails and they would just come up through the car and cut them in half. Or come through the windshield and take their head off. And this was the entire length both ways of the Interborough Parkway. I drove a tow truck on the Interborough Parkway, and it was nothing short of a meat grinder. It was, I mean, you just saw stuff that was, I mean, I can't tell you how many cars I saw with the roofs ripped off, or or a piece of that guardrail come up right through the car and took 2 or 3 people with it. It was, yeah. I mean, it was
So there was a steady stream of job openings at Kennedy.
every Friday or Saturday night. Like I said, you had at least one fatality collision uh, before 1 o'clock, and then from 1 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the morning, it was stay off of the Interborough. Don't even go up there if you can help it.
That has to be a rule for New York Mets. No driving on the Interborough. You can play for the team. Good luck with your season. I hope you have a wonderful time. Hope you go to the Hall of Fame. Stay off the Interborough Parkway if you're a New York Met.
I would think that would probably be a wise thing, whether you were a Met, a Yankee, or anything else. And actually, it's funny because a number of the Brooklyn Dodgers
Or no
used to
longer
take
with
the
it.
Interborough because
Wow.
the Brooklyn end of it was not that far from Ebbets Field, and a lot of the Dodgers lived either in the outer neighborhoods of Brooklyn or out in Queens.
Hmm.
And so the Interborough Parkway would be, it's really was the only limited access highway that went into central Brooklyn. So, if you didn't want to take the BQE and take Atlantic Avenue, you had to basically go through the Interborough. Horrible road, absolutely horrible road. Like I said, it should have been closed down years ago, and nobody led on it, except for maybe emergency vehicles. They should have stuck a train on it or something. Because again, I've seen some of them. I saw some of the most horrible accidents I've ever seen in my life on that thing, and it smelled like alcohol.
Wow.
The Interborough Parkway. I mean, it was probably, if you were going to pull up on 3 or 4 accidents a night, I would guarantee you that no less than a minimum of 2 of them, there would be alcohol in the car.
In the car.
In the car, you would smell like the open bottle, or it would be lying there. Yeah, it really was. It was incredibly horrible. Really, I did it for like a month, and I quit. I said, "Yeah, I can't do this." You just saw too many really horrible accidents.
And of
you
course,
know. And
you'd have to tow away the car uh,
yeah,
just after it had been freed of its dead passengers.
yeah. Well, yeah. You usually had to. Well, what they do in New York is when there's a serious injury or a fatality accident, you don't just clear the scene. You have to wait for the AIS or the Accident
Investigated.
Investigation Squad to come out, and they take measurements and they do this and do that, and take pictures and everything like that. So you so many times you'd have to stay, you either stay on the scene or come back. The cops would call you to come back because we were the only ones that could go up there. This was what they called a franchise highway. So there was only one tow operator that was allowed to go on that highway and take cars, no matter accidents, mechanicals, whatever it was.
They do the same thing here. If there's a fatality, the CHP closes the freeway for an investigation.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, since the '60s, um, it's been like that. I think for all police departments.
You think they just
There's
post it off and
federal,
say he's dead, and what good is it?
yeah, they get federal funding to do that. The Department of what is it?
Transportation.
The National Safety NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, um, studies all of these accidents to try to make either road improvements or different types of data that they compile to tell you which are the most dangerous highways, where can we improve this highway if we bank the turn, will it, because that's the other thing that this thing didn't have is it didn't have, it was before they invented rain, the grooves that go in the road,
Right.
and it was flat, it didn't have bank turns.
Pasadena Freeway, the first freeway in America, doesn't bank its turns. In fact, some
Yeah,
turns are banked the wrong way.
yeah, so you didn't have, you had no grooves in the pavement, which, if people don't know, that's what allows cars to stop in the rain and not slide down the pavement. A car going 60 miles an hour in the rain, you hit the brakes, it doesn't just stop. There's a lot of
Hydro
physical reaction that's going on between water and oil and grease and elements and everything. And
and
cars are
luck.
going, you're trying to steer the car one way and it's going another way. And in some cases, picking up speed instead of losing speed.
Yeah, design is underrated for managing traffic. I always thought downtown Seattle was an incredibly congested place because they never realized that they were going to need more than 2 or 3 lanes of traffic. This'll do.
Oh, without
This'll
how do you?
do.
I mean, you look at I-5 and downtown, it whittles down to one lane going through downtown.
Now, somebody actually came up with that idea, ran it by everybody else in the office. It got endorsed, it got built, it never got improved, and now you're stuck with it because one thoughtless person said, one lane is plenty. In fact, if I had my way, there'd be no lanes in this area. It would go down to zip. It would just go down to infinity.
And then some guy from Chicago who probably planned traffic in Chicago stood up at the table and said, "Well, we can't do that." And three
You
of the
can't do
other
that.
people at that table stood up and said, "No, you don't understand. You're not from here."
And that was the end of that discussion.
He said, "You don't understand. You're not from here."
Talk to the newsman. He's still mad about the World's Fair.
Yeah, Mike Garland, he's still upset about the World's Fair. You guys all ruined it when you came here for the World's Fair.
That was the idea. You have a World's Fair for people to come. Not here, we didn't. We had a World's Fair. We said, nobody come. You're not welcome
we
here.
asked one person to come, Elvis. He was the only guy we asked to come.
And he wouldn't come, so we're shutting the whole thing down.
So get those dreams out of your head.
What about Gene Vincent in the Blue Caps? You could have invited him, but no.
No, we wanted Elvis because Elvis. We had some nice highway out in eastern Washington that we wanted him to ride on. To him and I forget who the co-star in that movie was now. But we wanted them to be riding on it, so we invited them, and they came and they did a movie. And Elvis shook his hips at the World's Fair.
Like that, which was shot entirely in Orange County.
You should have been there. Except maybe we didn't want you to come in. No, it was shot here. I mean, I'm sure some of it was shot down there, but it's actually one of the rare things for those days where they actually shot it on location.
Wow.
For those movies, 62. But, a lot of his movies were shot on location. I mean, Viva Las Vegas was shot in Vegas.
He always worked in Hawaii.
Was shot in New Orleans. Kid Creole.
Kid Creole. Forgot about that.
With Morticia Adams. Carolyn Jones.
And how come Wendell Corey was in every one of his movies? He always played the adult. What the hell was that all about? He had a lifetime contract with the Colonel?
He had a lifetime contract with Elvis, baby.
What do I play in this movie? Same thing you played in the last movie. The guy who comes in and says hello, and then he gets in the car, and then he goes to the hotel. That's you.
Right. And then the girl catches up with him and says, why doesn't Stormy love me? Because he's got a lot of living to do.
Don't ask me. Ask Wendell Corey. He knows everything.
Wendell knows everything. Any relation to Jeff? Who was the other guy? Jeff Corey? That played, wasn't he in Lassie for a while? Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, there was a Jeff Corey as well. Wendell Corey, Jeff Corey. For a while when I was a kid, I used to think that it was cool that Steve Reeves played Hercules and George Reeves played Superman.
Oh, the Reeves family.
Genetic. I figured they were brothers.
Discover your next star down in Santa Monica, where all the guys lift weights on the beach, Muscle Beach. There you will find Victor Mature working on his upper body.
Is that where Reeves was discovered? Steve Reeves?
I don't know. I have no idea. He probably in Cheyenne, Wyoming, for all we know.
Well, George was from Iowa. But Woolfolk, Iowa? Yeah, I think it was Woolfolk, Iowa, if I'm not mistaken. I've never gone, but one time on one of my cross-country trips, I want to go and see the house that he was born in. I see the house he died in, so I think it only fitting that I
check backwards and go to the beginning.
Go see the house he was born in. Yes, I mean I've been to 1579 Benedict Canyon a bunch of times.
Well, right, I hope there's no more.
Ozzy Osbourne's house.
Really?
Yep. 1579 is here, and Ozzy lives right over here.
No bats in that neighborhood. Used to be, but not anymore.
Not anymore. Nope, Ozzy's having lunch. So, did you see my post on Facebook yesterday?
Remind me, what did it say? About hail?
Wendy's.
Oh, Wendy's is doing flexible pricing.
Yeah, Wendy's is going to do flex pricing. Flex pricing. What do they call it? Fluid pricing. Same as Ticketmaster.
That has no effect on me whatsoever because I do not go to burger places that don't actually cook their burgers. If they heat them up in some sort of a commissary.
On you though, if they're successful with it, because it will empower other, not just fast food places, but I'm sure if they get away with it and it's successful for them, that Starbucks or whatever coffee chain you want to name, Pete's or
I
whatever.
go to
We'll
Pete's.
start doing it as well. They'll charge you a quarter more for a coffee in the morning than they do at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Then do they charge below price for 6 o'clock in the evening coffee?
I don't know. I don't know,
My,
but
my
I
rule
think
with
it's
burger places is if you don't actually cook the burger on a grill in your kitchen, I'm not your customer. If you're heating it up after you retrieve your meat from a commissary and just put it in a microwave, you and I will not do business. And that's why I don't go to McDonald's.
does. I mean, I don't think Wendy's does that, do they? I mean, I've never. The only reason it really upset me is I kind of like Wendy's because it's one of the only fast food chains where you can actually get a grilled, not a grilled, but a barbecued hamburger that's not just sitting on a grill. You can get a baked potato instead of French fries, or you can get a chili, which
Hmm.
is
Well, I
decent.
have to
I
admit
mean,
I'm not familiar with their menu. I'm not a Wendy's person.
yeah, Wendy's is actually, and I always like the idea of Dave Thomas, the guy that owned Wendy's. He's dead now, but always did a lot of work around adopted and foster children.
Mhm.
Spent millions of dollars of his fortune on helping foster kids because he was an adopted kid himself.
I was just thinking it must have been the reason. Yes.
Yeah, he was adopted himself. So he supported many different agencies and different things that helped foster children out, helped them get placed, and all of that kind of stuff. Matter of fact, I think they
Only in America would you go to a burger place that doesn't cook their burgers. You sell burgers. Yes, we sell them, but you don't cook them? No, we cook them in a sort of a heating up way. It's like you bought your burger yesterday, you forgot to eat it, you left it in the car and you heat it up when you get home. That's us. We just heat the burgers up. But they're cooked at some strange location in a warehouse. Then we freeze them, then we bring them, then we heat them up, and then we charge you, depending on how we feel about it, full price or over full price. But
you,
don't expect us to cook your burger. That's asking too much.
you've never had a Stewart's sandwich or a gas station hamburger.
No.
Oh, Mikey, you're missing out on. I mean, you're on the road, man. At night, you can pull into that one gas station when the lights are on, and they got a hamburger sitting there or whatever it is in the case. You go for it. That's what I
Awesome.
used to like. That's why Waffle House is so good because they actually cook their food um, at night. They're open 24/7, but it's not stuff that's been sitting there. They have they find somebody, um,
In the kitchen.
try to show them how to cook things, and stick them in the kitchen. And so you get the floor show of the people that go to Waffle House, but then you also get the show of watching people who have no idea what they're doing uh, try to cook stuff.
That can be entertaining while you're waiting for your meal.
Yeah, I think it can be. I mean, I can't tell you how many um, Denny's I've been in where the waitress is cooking up the stuff and she's taking your order, running in the kitchen. Especially in a small town place where Denny's is all she's back there, slinging the hash and coming out and serving you your meal. Um,
Coffee? Coffee, more coffee?
yeah, that's why they invented those big pots of coffee. So they just come and slap them on your table and say, "All right, here, drink this while I cook your meal."
Keep busy. I'll be back.
And and she's pissed off at the world because the cook didn't show up. So yeah, so dynamic pricing for Wendy's. It's I just I'm so perplexed by it because I think it's just a way to grab money from people.
Oh yeah. Well, the whole idea of Wendy's was a way to grab money from people. The concept was not to feed you or to entertain you or to delight you. It was just to get your dough.
Well, I mean, I guess well, but they are giving you something for the money. They're giving you heartburn, or they're giving you a beef patty. I mean, it's you pay for the convenience of going through the drive-through and not having to get out of your car and not going in and dealing with stuff. And if you have, little kids or something like that, it it can be it can be something that you got, that actually gives you a lot of convenience. There's a value to what they're doing. I think. I mean, it's obviously uh, not the greatest food in the world, but if you're not going every day, if you go, once a week or something like that, I could think of worse things for you.
Oh yes, there's worse things.
There's worse things you could do. Uh, and not everybody, it's funny. I have friends, obviously, that cook all their meals and stuff like that. Not everybody has that luxury of the time to do that, especially if you have 3 kids or you're going between 2 jobs or something like that. A lot of times to
Time's been
stop
wasted. Let's just eat. Let's just eat.
yeah,
Yeah.
stop at Wendy's, grab a burger, eat it while you're driving, while you get to your next job. Um, Unfortunately, that's how things run in this country. It's not like Europe where you have one job and you come home and you drink a glass of wine and you sit down and you talk to everybody and find out how their day has been. No, those days are long gone here in America.
A lot of it's gone.
Now we're being soaked for every dime that if you walk in 2 minutes to 9, the hamburger will be 39 cents. If you walk in 1 minute after 9, it'll be 89 cents. I mean, that's a way to get more money out of you for not doing much of anything different except changing the menu.
And they're going to spend $20 million putting in menus that allows them to change the price when they want to.
Yeah, which tells you that it's going to be profitable, or it should be profitable, right? Except that you hope that it's going to take just such a hard public relations hit that so many people will talk about it that it'll be not advantageous for them to do it. That people will stop going to Wendy's or stop going to whatever chain is
So
doing something.
whatever negative comes along with it apparently has been just shoved aside, shuttled to the back row because Wendy's is going to do it, and they're proud. They're doing it. They're telling everybody across the country that they're going to do it.
Well, the difference is though is when you're driving down the street, if Wendy's is dynamic priced, you can just keep on driving
Hello,
and
Burger
go
King.
to McDonald's
Yeah.
or go to Burger King or go to one of many different. As I said in my post yesterday, this gives you the fine option of going to Dick's Drive-In, which is a locally owned place, buying locally sourced meat and potatoes and so on and so forth, and
It's a little
employing
bit long of
local
a
kids.
drive. It's a bit of a drive for me, but I endorse your idea. Good
Well, but
idea.
you have, but I'm sure there are chains down there that are local chains or local smaller business burger places. You may have to get out of the car and go inside and get it, but it beats going to one of these places where they're going to charge you, uh, you know, uh, $1.49 for a little bag of fries at 11 o'clock and $2.49 at 11:15. What the hell changed between 11 o'clock and 11:15? Did the price of potatoes go up? Did they
These are the
change
midday
oil?
potatoes. The midday potatoes. You're going to like them.
I just it's um it's just disheartening, and because Ticketmaster and because other businesses get away with this, they're going to try it now with our food.
Well, it works so well with cars. How much does this car cost? Well, I can't tell you that. We have a suggested price, but it doesn't mean anything. So, what do you think it costs? What's it worth to you to buy a car? Let's come up with a
And
price. Yeah, you say a number, then I'll say a number, and I'll take it to the guy in the back.
whose fault is that?
That's our fault.
Why do we let that system exist?
How did it begin?
Well, it began because the factories were not allowed to sell their own cars. Somebody thought that it would be a better idea to give local people an opportunity to sell cars so that local businesses would have an opportunity to make money off of this newfangled car thing. And then you had, and then of the lobby that grew out of that became so strong that when they wanted to change it, they
Nope.
couldn't change it.
Even Mitch
Um,
McConnell couldn't change it.
well, now that he's leaving, who knows what's going to happen? But I mean, the ultimate thing is money, and he's not stopping. He's not leaving by saying nobody else in Congress can take any more money. Matter of fact, he's leaving by saying, "Well, I got my piece of the pie. Now you guys have at it."
And remember, for the next 10 years, even though I'm not here, I still get my percentage as if I were here.
It wouldn't shock me. Well, he'll probably take some advice. He'll probably get a seat in a law firm or take some advisory role on some board at some company and get paid a couple of million a year just to put his name on the letterhead.
What cars do they make in Kentucky? Do they make cars there?
Yeah,
Beamers?
Ford builds trucks there, builds F-150s in Kentucky. There's somebody else that makes cars in Kentucky too. I'm trying to think. Is it? It's not Subaru, but I think there's. Yeah, I think there's another manufacturer. But Ford, I think it's their biggest truck plant is in Kentucky.
Well, he can be on the board of Ford, the Ford board.
Who is it? Trying to think of where Volkswagen is. They've gone somewhere down there too, but it might be
Have you seen the
Tennessee.
new Volkswagen?
Chattanooga.
Have you seen the
Yeah, Volkswagen went to Chattanooga.
new Volkswagen commercials? Or Neil Diamond singing "I Am," I said, with the
Yeah,
old bugs.
it's a heartwarming commercial.
They keep trying to bring back the bug, but they don't bring it back for very long.
Well, they brought it back. I mean, it's been around for 25 years.
You can still buy a
The new
bug.
bug. Yeah, the new bug has been around since maybe even longer, maybe even 30 years.
I didn't think they made them anymore. My mistake.
No. They stopped making them now. They just did last year. But they have been around for a long time. They just stopped selling them. They've kind of gone out of style, but they are bringing back the Volkswagen bus.
Air-cooled
The
engines.
the little Volkswagen van will be back. It's electric. It's called the ID Buzz, and it should be in your local Volkswagen dealer by the end of the year. And you probably won't be able to get one for a couple of years because they're
Because
so cute.
when they've been flex priced, and Wendy's has got them all.
Probably so. Well, but I mean, it's what they did with cars. I mean, there's, I don't know, there's just something to me about basic staples being flex priced like that.
Yeah.
There's something, there's something about basic. It's one thing if you flex price if you flex price luxury items or things like that, those are priced. That's one thing. But when you start flex pricing food, when you start flex pricing basic staples of life, you start flex pricing toilet paper, something wrong with that. If you gotta, if you got to, I better not say it. let's just say, let's just say that on-demand pricing for toilet paper should be illegal.
Well, Vinny, I'm gonna have to cut it short today. I have an appointment that I forgot to tell you about, but I'll
Okay.
see you on a Freaky Friday, shall we?
See you on Friday. Have a good one, Michael. Don't
No,
forget my win.
I have a Flex Price Friday uh, fee that I hadn't mentioned. So for Fridays, I charge twice as much for the morning show that we do. But if you want to see it later in the day, it's free.
Maybe we should start flex pricing our show. But then again, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. So
But nothing double is more nothing. And that's our
nothing,
specialty.
still nothing. Still nothing until you got something. All right, I will catch up with you on Friday then, Mikey. Have a good day. Be healthy. Stay wise, and we'll see you on Friday if the Lord's willing. The creek don't rise. Why don't you
Stay
say that?
wise sort of implies that I am wise, and no, that's not true.
No. You're wise. You're wise. You're wise. You're one of the wisest people I ever met. Um, peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine! See you Friday, Vinny, for a freaky
See you
one.
Friday.